Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Indeglio from Downingtown Middle School here. We are very excited to be bringing you a Q&A Facebook session. Any questions that might be pressing as we finish our first day of online instruction, I am here to try to answer for you. Or, hey, let's face it, we're all kind of bored right now, so any other questions someone might be able to answer, we will all help each other. I've got the comments and reactions chat box ready to go, so if people want to start typing in their questions, they can do that at absolutely any time. I can tell you that today, despite some of the technical difficulties early on, it really was nice to see a lot of the students engaging in a variety of the course content. We worked hard to put good coursework together, hopefully easing in as we get moving on this new journey. Along the way, obviously, we've discovered some mistakes and some things we could fix and do better, and we've been trying to do that as best as we can. So at this time, so I don't repeat all of the things in the informational emails from the past couple days, we'll leave it open to our chat people starting to ask some questions here. Got a couple thumbs up there. Great, we appreciate you being here. Thumbs up to everyone watching as well. Looks like Miss Bailey, hello, nice to see you. Way to be part of the chat experience. She's the first one to dive in. Takes guts to be the first one, everybody, so feel free to jump in at any time with any questions. All right, here we go, Miss Graham, with our first question of the evening. And what is the expectation on the amount of homework that will be given with the daily assignments? We are hoping that we are able to stick pretty closely to the guidelines that we've been setting forth, and that's to keep the work to, especially in this first week or first couple weeks, a reasonable chunk of time, which would be no more than the actual amount of time they would spend in class. So if it's a math assignment in the realm of 45 minutes or so. I would say if there's that much homework assigned on top of the classwork and coursework being given, that would be too much. So I'm thinking if they're meeting 45 minutes a day for a core class, I wouldn't want to see the kids spending any more time than that. If that is happening, I would say, like we said on our email informational yesterday, email those teachers right away, and we can try to get a handle on how we're rolling with those there. All right. And lots of nice little thumbs up there. One really good question that kind of started us off, so that's great as well. A lot of people have been asking, here we go. There's been talk about hi, Ms. Ritter. There's been talk about some teachers requiring students to log their attendance by a certain time. Can it be safely assumed if a teacher doesn't state a time, they have until the end of the day? The answer is attendance is open for the day starting at 12:01 a.m., and it doesn't shut down until 11:59 p.m. the following day. So as long as your student checks in and does whatever it is for that particular class that is the attendance marker for the day, you will get credit for it. So that is absolutely correct. You have just about 24 hours to handle that. So yes, you can safely assume that. In fact, it's not even an assumption anymore. That's a fact. Hello, Ms. Wisher is here, Ms. Graham, and Ms. Pritchard. Good to see you. Ms. Fitzner, how can we get in touch with admin? My daughter fell down the steps at school about a month ago. I need to speak with someone. We can chat offline if you want. You just send me an email, and then we can definitely do that. I'm going to hopefully have a log of the chat, so I will make a note of that. But yeah, we'll definitely be in touch. That's definitely an offline conversation there for sure. Ms. Hoffman, would it be possible for the teachers to add their assignments so they appear in the upcoming calendar so parents can easily track what's due? All right, so we are tracking right now the way teachers are using the different features in Schoology right now, and we are trying a variety of different things. I'm hoping for the most part that core teams are pretty much aligned. If they're not, we're going to try to get to the point where they are right now, but that's definitely on the agenda right now. So I'm going to make note of that, Ms. Huffman, and we're going to look into that piece if that's one of the easier ways for people to track. I know some people do prefer the calendar, while other people prefer the assignments like within Schoology there. Will the work from the past 2 weeks have credit, the kids that work on it? So the work from the past 2 weeks is during the time frame where the work essentially was optional. The governor had shut things down. It is not required work. I'm not sure how other schools are handling it, although I am pretty sure that for the most part, all of the schools are having that work. It was basically extra. It was optional. It was review, not new material. I've instructed my teachers that none of that work for the past 2 weeks should be graded. So it was all intended to be review and practice there. So no, for Downingtown Middle School, the work from the past 2 weeks should not be graded. Let's see. What do we do on days like today when Schoology has an outage? A lot of our teachers asked that first thing this morning, too, when we had Schoology go down for a little while. The best answer for that question is punt to Plan B. Unfortunately, right now, this is all new to us, so we don't really have a Plan B. It's distracting from Plan A, so we're just trying to make best as we can. So here's my suggestions for you. All of our students have access to IXL. That's IXL.com. What I would do is if Schoology's down, if you're unable to be working on the assignments, hop onto IXL. It's a totally separate platform, a totally separate website. All of its standards aligned in the areas of math and reading. You can sign up for the science and social studies modules now as well if you'd like, and do some review work on IXL. There's some great reading comprehension exercises, excellent math review. IXL would be my big recommendation for that part there. All right, as questions are popping through here. Will the new work online be graded? Hi, Ms. Pritchard. Yes, the new work online will be graded. And this is, like I said, it's a work in progress. The entire district is kind of feeling this out right now to see how well we can actually provide the online instruction and what grading should look like. Every teacher at Downingtown Middle School, we're in contact daily via email. We've had some faculty Zoom meetings. We've had drop-in sessions for professional development. We are erring on the side of less is more right now. As far as grading goes, we're looking to be lenient. We're trying to provide the instruction, and then we are going to do our very best to find a fair and equitable way to grade. I don't know if that's going to mean an A through F system, a pass-fail system, or what that might look like. That's kind of up in the air right now. We really want to see what things are going to look like as we're going with that. But the short answer is yes, new work will be graded. Is Schoology still down? My daughter is still unable to log on. I was able to log on as of, it was about an hour ago now. However, it was still running pretty slow. My brother actually works for Schoology, and you have a lot of school districts who are brand new to the platform. Obviously, different servers for the districts and everywhere are trying to get on right now, and we are going to do our best to improve that as we go. Our tech department was working all day trying to iron out some of the kinks. So as far as I know, Schoology is up right now. Here's a great piece of advice for everybody. Your best friend is the refresh button on either the iPad or on your laptop, on whatever you're using. If things aren't working, try to shut it down, reopen it, refresh it, spin it, take it for a walk around the block, try to get closer to your router. Anything you can possibly do to try to get the connection reset is a great piece of advice right now. So, yeah, and I just touched my face. The one thing I wasn't going to do this entire podcast, and I did it. I'm sorry. Okay, next. If a child made the effort to complete the assignments for the past 2 weeks, shouldn't they get credit for it? Hi, Ms. Lambertino. Nice to hear from you, and thank you for the question. Right when we had shut down, Dr. Lenardi did make it clear in her communications that we were going to provide activities and things, but that they wouldn't be graded. And that's because at the time, the way things were working was the governor's state shutdown of schools at that time. Since then, the state of Pennsylvania, the federal government, all the departments of education have been working hard to get the path to new learning to start. So these 2 periods were like a refresh. I would say that the credit essentially is that they were able to refresh, practice, and keep learning. So even though there's not a grade, it doesn't mean it's not worthwhile there. Will anything be graded before Friday? I'm imagining that teachers, depending on what the assignments are, will be grading things as they go. Some of our teachers grade instantly because they're fast. Some of our teachers who are normally very speedy as well have 2 or 3 kids at home they're trying to manage as well, so the grading might be a little slower. So we're going to try to grade things as we normally would grade them. I'm speaking more towards when we're looking at like mid-marks, end of marking period grades, and things like that. It's going to be lenient. It's going to be flexible. We're all going to work together. And keep working together there. Let's see. Is the school considering adding live instruction using Zoom or Google Apps? Hi again, Ms. Huffman. Yes. So the issue that we're having with Zoom right now is that Zoom can work as an interface within Schoology. However, that's on their desktop. That's on the laptop, the regular Schoology interface. The mobile interface for Schoology is different software coding, a lot of different instruction, and Zoom is not working within Schoology right now with Zoom that way. So every student in the middle school, we're trying to make sure they have access to an iPad, and that's been a lot of behind-the-scenes work that's been going on for the past couple weeks. We kind of have an issue of inequity if we're using Zoom, and kids who have laptop and computer access at home can get into those Zoom chats. For the students who only have the school iPad, they can't. So this is an issue that's being worked on right now. There's just some technology hurdles that we're working through. It's one of the difficulties of having different levels using different devices sometimes. So the iPads can be great in some situations. Right now, we're in a situation where we're looking for a way to get a Zoom-type interface working for our students and teachers. All right, I'm scrolling down as we go. Lots of great questions coming in now. Please be patient. I'm going to make sure I get to all of them. I'm sorry, Ms. Huffman, you had also asked about Google Apps. Like I said, right now technology is looking at everything, trying to see what will work. And again, there's a lot of safety concerns as well, just in terms of cyber and internet safety. So, like I said, they are working hard right now on that. Thanks, Ms. Otis. The teachers and admin are doing an incredible job in such a short amount of time. I got to tell you, it's the teachers right now. I appreciate you mentioning the administrators as well. Dr. Farrell, Dr. Henry working hard, but it is absolutely 100% our teachers working together. You'd be really surprised to see right now the type of engagement that since the first day we left, Saturdays and Sundays as well, teachers are together in Google Hangout. They're doing Zoom conferences together. They're working together to plan instruction across departments, across curricular areas, providing resources for each other. A lot of positivity, and it's all because they want to find ways that'll work for the kids to learn. We all recognize how difficult this is, so we appreciate that. Even with the website down, hi, Ms. Lozada. Aha, Ms. Lozada, nice to hear from you. The Schoology app was working well. I know it's more difficult that way, but just an FYI. That's actually, I had an itch. I almost scratched my face. I didn't do it. Thank you, Amanda. That's good to know. Again, one of the biggest difficulties we're having with the app interface right now is that we don't have the conferencing capabilities. So everyone's kind of working on that. Let's see. Is it possible to pick up? This is a great question. I'm glad you asked this, and it was on my list of notes to talk about if people weren't jumping in a lot. Is it possible to pick up a band instrument that is still in the school? And thank you for everything. Unfortunately, right now, the answer about instruments or any other items that were left at school, that's a no right now. There's no staff that is currently permitted in any of our 16 buildings, and that includes custodians right now. The custodians are on a very tight schedule as well. I've only been in the building one time since we closed down, and that was for the medication pickup. Which was a very formalized process and even a little bit eerie, to tell you the truth, because we had the custodians come in afterwards with the big foggers and cleaners to make sure that every area that was used was completely cleaned and wiped down. So we are sticking pretty tight right now to the recommendations from both the state and federal level, in addition to the social distancing, also with keeping the facility as clean as possible. So I know that's a hardship for sure, not having the instruments, and I know it's not because your child forgot their instrument. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons that kids weren't able to take their instruments home on Friday. Some were away, some were sick, a lot of things to think about there. So I'm sorry. Right now the answer is no. However, if this continues as we go through April and perhaps, who knows, move into May, one of the considerations is going to be how will we get students their things, and we will come up with a plan from that. Next question. Any idea of frequency for tests or quizzes? So, time out. I'm sorry. I have to scratch. The itch was unattainable. I promise I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to keep everything clean. The frequency for tests or quizzes, I have been leaning on my teachers very heavily in the positive sense of saying less is more right now. I want them trying to use Schoology, the assessment builder, and doing a lot of that in Schoology. But at the same time, with all of that, I don't want us to be pushing and stressing out our students and our parents with an assessment piece right away. So right now, we don't have a number in mind. But to be completely honest, I'm a data guy, so I really love the charts and the graphs and collecting data and seeing how things are working. This really is an interesting experiment in the sense that I don't know how well cyber learning works. And I'll be honest with you, over the past 10 years that I've been at Downingtown Middle School, prior to us having our own cyber academy, I wasn't a fan of students leaving DMS and going to cyber programs because, in general, middle school students weren't successful. Now, this is a completely different scenario and situation. So looking at the type of data in terms of how long does it take to actually attain new material in a virtual sense before it's time to assess, and how valid is the assessment depending on not being face-to-face, what type of assessment is it, were the kids really given a fair enough chance to be exposed to the material. So that's kind of a long answer to say not quite yet right now. All right, this question's rolling in, which is great. How will gym be graded? Will it be graded at all? Our PE and health teachers are also working real hard. I've seen some of the stuff they've been coming up with activity-wise. They'll definitely be graded, most likely pass-fail. But let's put it this way. If the gym teacher gives an activity for the kids to empty the dishwasher and they don't do it, send me an email. I will email your student, and I will make sure that assignment gets completed there. So laundry folding, vacuuming, mopping, there's a lot of household chores. It's just about gardening time, some grass planting. We can definitely find ways to get the kids physically active, as we should. Okay, Miss Wolf, the code to join Lancers United is not working for my daughter. Is she the only one? I'm not sure. However, do me a favor, shoot me an email on that, either on Schoology or just regular, and I'll have Miss Brown, our instructional coach, work with you to try to figure out why she's unable to log in there. It should be working. I haven't heard any other people at this time having difficulty logging onto the course there. Ms. McGovern, I know the same question about the band instrument. I'm really sorry. Right now, that's a no. As we move forward, though, like I said, there is going to have to be resolution to that at some point. We're just going to have to kind of wait it out for now. Next question. Can you really consider it a WrestleMania if there are no fans? Well, by definition, it still is WrestleMania. The event is titled. The event is being held. You know, it's like if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise? Yeah, I think it does, actually. So WrestleMania will go on. The show must go on, and I think most of it's actually pre-taped already. So should be interesting to see how that plays out in the next couple days there. Just a whole lot of changes in our new world. For those of you who don't know, that's my brother asking that question. And in a past life, I was, in fact, a professional wrestler. So speaking of which, our big fundraiser, which was going to be for A Gift of Life, our organ transplant fundraiser, was a big wrestling show and rock and roll concert. It's been rescheduled for next year on October 22nd. We would love for you to buy tickets, still plenty available, and you can get those from our website. You can see a link on our Facebook page as well. All right, how will students make up REACH while at home? We are thinking about the REACH lessons and things we do. A lot of our cyber citizenship and our capstone projects are through the REACH program. Right now, we want the focus to just be on core instruction. As we figure this out, as we move forward, we're going to figure out how to get some of that good content that we deliver at REACH across as well. Most likely, we'll be building some of it into the core classes and on-core classes. But I also see us using our Lancers United Schoology group as a way to cover some of the REACH content. So thank you for that. Do the teachers, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses either. All right, Chris, I'm going first name, sorry. Do the teachers have the capability to monitor the students' online activity for each class? The answer to that is yes, in the sense that anything the student posts within a class discussion or submits an assignment or completes an activity, we are able to track that, yes. Will they use that as some form of way to grade or score tests, quizzes, participation, or completing assignments? Short answer is yes. And then you continue, for example, the average student is spending 50 to 60 minutes per day on this subject. Your student's averaging 30 minutes for the subject, score meets. Well, I was saying earlier, we were kind of looking at how much time is actually feasible and reasonable. So what we're basically trying to accomplish right now is figuring out what amount of time should count for participation in different types of credit like that. So I think that's one of those data points I was talking about, Chris, and we're going to kind of figure that out as we go along there. This is definitely new ground. It's not really been done before in a way that's meaningful, and none of the research I've seen on the online learning has really shown what that looks like. So that's a good question. We'll see. Question from Jonathan Ross, who I believe might be the principal at Lineville Middle School, our sister school. Um, John, I miss you. I hope you're doing well up the road there. John and I live in the same neighborhood, but we've been social distancing. So his question is, if there's no audio to this chat, why are you wearing headphones? The answer is simple. One, because these headphones are cool. Notice they light up. See? Two, because I haven't shaved my head recently, so I have my hair growing in up top a little bit, and I'm trying to cover that up so people can't see it. That's the actual answer there. Thanks for that, John. Ms. Fitzner, any ideas on the Ecology Club Cape Cod trip? I assume canceled, but don't want to assume. I've seen so many memes on Facebook right now about assuming that just because the situation we're in right now. So yes, I think it is safe to assume at this point that most trips occurring after this April deadline end are in jeopardy. So between May and June, if we do return to school, this is just me speaking. This is as the principal. I'm not the school board at this time. No decisions have been made, but I'm envisioning, at least based on the information we're hearing on the news and from very smart people, that the social distancing guidelines are going to remain intact to a degree that it's going to make it difficult to have large group gatherings. So at this time, while there's not a definitive answer, I don't want to lead you astray by saying, well, no, all the trips are technically still on. Even though that's true, I have a hard time seeing how we would carry on with some of those trips. And as we get more information, we are going to be disseminating that kind of as it goes. Thanks, John. You're right. Question withdrawn. Miss Susie, principal of Shimona Creek, Dr. Susie, I'm sorry, I apologize, has just checked in. She's noted that the headphones are a good look. Very much appreciate it. And thank you for all the hard work you're doing, Dr. Susie, you and all the elementary principals, keeping our elementary students engaged and feeling like they're still a part of everything that's happening right now. All right, so I'm going to scroll back through to make sure thus far I haven't missed any questions. I hope I haven't. If I have, just retype it at the bottom. It looks like we've got a lot covered at this point. One of the things I wanted to mention again, I know it was kind of overwhelming for a lot of parents that they'd be getting the amount of emails from the different teachers that you were getting on the Downingtown Middle School side. We kind of retrofitted halfway through the day and put together a process that will kind of hopefully minimize that and keep it very specific to the different subjects, not emailing more than once per week where possible, at least. Again, the default is always Schoology. That's where the information lies, and that's where hopefully things should be there. Thank you, Mr. Ross. I appreciate it. Question withdrawn. Ms. Huffman, please do more of these Facebook Live events. It was helpful. Thank you. Absolutely. And actually, I was just mentioning Mr. Ross. Mr. Ross and I did have a conversation at the beginning of the shutdown 2 weeks ago. And as we try to do things intact as best as we can a lot of times. And we didn't want to muddle the message that was coming out from DASD as a whole. We knew that Dr. Lenardi was putting out daily updates, and we consciously kind of limited our communication from the principal end because we knew that especially in the beginning, this is so new and there was it's unprecedented, some of the things that are happening right now. We didn't want to be double talking and kind of like bombarding you. Now that we've moved in the new phase of learning instruction and that we know that this is going on at least until the end of April, you will be hearing from us a lot more. We're going to do our best to over-communicate in a positive way, but at the same time not try to overwhelm you. So we're going to do our best. I did it again, touched my nose. How about tours at STEM or the high school? Miss Whitford, that's going to depend on a few things. It's going to depend on whether or not we actually do get back to school. It's going to depend on whether or not we're able to continue having the events that we have had in the past. So, for example, mid to the end of May, we have a step-up day where students who are going to West basically visit West for the day and they take tours, and the same thing for the STEM Academy. Assuming that we are returning in May and the schedules are able to work out that way and there's not conflicts, if we're able to, I'm imagining those events will go on. However, if they don't, I'm sure that our very creative high school students, principals, guidance counselors who put those events together are going to come up with a multimedia virtual way of conducting those tours and making that magic happen. Again, that's something that might get pushed out way till the summer as we kind of move forward here. Again, it's hard to say when we don't really know what's happening there. Will money for the trips be refunded? I am almost 100% positive on the Downingtown Middle School end of things that all of the trips we have going on between now and the end of the year can be refunded. So that's one of the things we try to make sure is in place when we book these types of trips. And each of the chaperones / advisors who are in charge of those trips will usually make sure that those things are there. So to my knowledge at this point, all the trips can be reimbursed. So that's definitely in the works. All right. Hi, Ms. Wisher is agreeing with Lisa. We need to over-communicate. Agreed. Ms. Fitzner, thank you for everyone at DMS. We appreciate it. Absolutely. Happy to help any way we can. Also, it's enjoyable kind of getting on here, and even though it's via words and stuff, it's nice to hear from you, and it's nice to kind of check in. Situations like this really have been putting things in a lot of ways in perspective. Just having to slow down and not rush to different activities and sitting down to meals together, coming up with activities to do together, things people enjoy. It's been nice. I've gotten the chance to spend a lot more time with my girls. I have a 4th grader and a 5th grader. They attend the Upper Marion Area School District, who is doing an excellent job with their distance learning and online learning right now. And I'm divorced from my first marriage, so my children, they go back and forth, and my ex-wife Denise and I, we share custody, and it's been very positive in the sense that I've gotten more time to spend with my girls, my wife Danielle and I now, but at the same time, just the ability to be flexible and work together, Denise and I have been able to, I think, co-parent even better through this time, which has been really nice. And it's been an unintended positive consequence to a lot of the negativity that's happening. And I don't mean that to undermine or underscore any of the very difficult and things that are taking place right now, the people who are sick, those who are working in less than ideal conditions right now, people who are out of work and things like that. I'm just trying to keep it positive and keep a good spin on it as best we can. So just trying hard there. Okay, another good question. Now we're going first name, Trish, since you're asking a non-school related question. What new series are you watching, and what is the channel? So this is a not suitable for middle school student program, but we just finished watching Netflix's series Tiger King, and I'm coming from a background, if you don't know, like I said, I was a professional wrestler, so I spent a lot of time in a very crazy world, very carnival-like in a lot of ways. I was a mascot in college, so I was exposed to a very strange world there, and nothing prepared me for what you saw in Tiger King. The world of big cats is absolutely insane, and every moment of that 7-episode series blew my mind. Also, I'll put another one out there for you, also on Netflix. It's called The Last Kingdom. It's based on a series of books. There's 12 books. Each season of the show covers 2 of the books. Every episode is chock full of action. It's historical fiction set in the time of King Alfred the Great, and it's amazing. I was originally turned on to that series by Miss Whitmer, who's one of our guidance counselors, who's a big fan of Uhtred, who's the main character in that show. All right, we got some definite TV tips coming in here. Ozark and Bloodline. So Bloodline, I had trouble. I couldn't get into that during the first couple episodes there. I'm not sure why. I think I might have to give it a go again. big fans of Ozark. So I know season 3 was just released on Friday, and Danielle and I are looking forward to catching up on Ozark season 3. Definitely ended the second season on a high note. Mr. Ross, big fan of Ozark as well. Question coming in from Miss Foley. Did Carol Hoskins feed her husband to the tigers? If you're asking for my opinion, as Nick Indeglio, not Downingtown Middle School principal, I'm going to go with yes, I think she probably fed him to the tigers. Or put him under the septic tank thing that they mentioned a few times there. But I'm probably going with the tigers on that one. It's a tough call. Miss Laverty, is Last Kingdom appropriate for middle schoolers? No, it's definitely, it's probably, I think, rated R. It's Game of Thrones. There's language. There's some definitely high-level brutality and things like that. So I would definitely say not appropriate for middle schoolers. There hasn't been a lot of good young adult content out there for middle schoolers. I had heard that the series on Netflix called Lock and Key, which is an adaptation of Joe Hill and Stephen King's Son, a comic there, was done to be a young adult piece. So I started watching it. And they definitely did bring it down a little bit, but it's still highly inappropriate. There's a lot of suggestive content and things like that. I haven't really seen a good series or a lot of movies even recently that have been middle school age appropriate. A couple of the new Disney movies that have been released on Disney Plus, I think Stargirl is one of them. That's definitely, that was a good one. We watched that with my middle schooler, my 5th grader. She enjoyed that. But yeah, a lot of good content out there right now for the grown-ups, not as much for the kids. Miss Babiak, she's just chimed in here. She actually is scheduled to perform the national anthem at the Rumble on Rock Raymond when that happens. She wants to know, who was my favorite character? Miss Babiak, which show are you speaking of? We've now talked about a couple, so I just needed some confirmation. All right, we're definitely off the rails completely now, so we're going to kind of roll with it here. Next question. If you had to pick one of the 3 groups from Tiger King to join, which would it be? There's a lot of different locations as you're watching the show. I think I might give away too many spoilers if I picked one, but I think you'd have to go with Joe Exotic, just because he's so over the top and such a larger-than-life personality. I think it'd be interesting to see what it would be like being around him for a couple days, so that would be my answer there. Miss Babiak, your question was in regards to Tiger King too. Who was your favorite character? My favorite character was probably Safi, I think. Talk about someone who, man, she lost her arm and came right back to work. My least favorite character was Carol Hoskins' second husband. I really disliked him for some reason. I'm not sure why exactly. Okay. All right, well, it looks like we're winding down there. I think we'll definitely. I like ending it on kind of like a lighter note, talking about some TV and things like that. So let's think about some topics for our next meeting where we can talk about some good pop culture type stuff. Love to jump in on that. Ooh, you know what? I have to answer this one. Mr. Grossman, who is your favorite wrestler? And of course, you mean professional wrestler. My all-time favorite, if I had to pick one person whose in-ring work I enjoy the most, I would go with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He is definitely my favorite of all time. I did get to meet him at WrestleMania 23, which was that was like 13 years ago now. Definitely a legend, definitely one of my favorites. But growing up as a kid, it was Hulk Hogan who got me hooked on professional wrestling. So, and I mean Hulk Hogan the character, not the actual person who we saw more of in reality shows. So Ricky Steamboat and Hulk Hogan are who I grew up on. And they were definitely among my favorites there. All right, Ms. Schott, checking in. One of our excellent 8th grade science teachers, technology whiz extraordinaire. She is constantly teaching me things, and she's telling us she just signed up for Netflix just so she could watch Tiger King. That's good news there. Oh, a great suggestion. Just popped in for a kid's show, Lego Masters, which you can watch on Hulu. I think it's on Fox, the new episodes. It is really fantastic. Reality show, different themes each week, and they basically, these are Lego builders, people who build Legos as amateurs essentially, and it's really, really impressive. The host is very funny too. He's the one who does the voice for all the Lego Batman movies. All right, John Ross just checked in saying Goldberg is the best wrestler. He's basically just, you know, he's a Zoom bombing. He's Facebook Live bombing right now, Goldberg. Miss Babiak, her favorite wrestler is Zero Gravity. Thank you. That was my name when I was a pro wrestler. Back then, I was a high flyer, a lot of the aerial stuff. These days, I am slightly less than Zero Gravity. Definitely not anymore. All right. We appreciate, well, Miss Langle, we appreciate you too. We try to do a little bit of both at Downingtown Middle School, have fun, and at the same time, give some information where we can and when we know things. So look, we'll definitely schedule another one of these as we're getting ready to sign off. If there's any particular days and times, I know a lot of you are isolated at home and working from home as well. We wanted to do this first one around 7:30 because we figured it was mostly like past dinner time and things like that, so it might be a good time to do this. So if you want to add a comment in while we're live, or even put a comment on the post after we stop the live broadcast of what days and times might work best for you to attend some of the sessions, please do that. Feel free to add questions as well to the comment and comment section afterwards as well. We try to definitely answer there. Miss Mundra used to play card games when we were kids back in India. We've been doing a lot of Yahtzee. A lot of the Yahtzee playing, a lot of Mario Kart as well. So we're definitely going to try to get into more of the card games as well. My sister is a Phase 10 and a Rummy Cub master, except she's not a lot of fun to play with because she takes it so seriously. She just wants to annihilate you. Very, very hard to play with. That's Miss Arminio. She works at Lionville Middle School. Okay, so we're going to call it an evening here. Once again, we just want to say thank you to everyone who attended, those of you who attended for the fun portions and also for the information. I am sorry if we were unable to give concrete answers to some of the questions, but all of this is a work in progress as we go, and we really are going to do our best to try to keep things flowing from an information perspective through the pipeline as best we can. So please, everyone, stay safe, take care of yourself, and we will talk to you soon.